Good morning. It is the morning, just about. It's about 11:30 now, and I'm out again on the Avon, as you can see. There's a few reasons that I'm on the Avon, and I'm on this stretch in particular, although things are not ideal, as I'll fill you in on now. I had a look at the height on the Avon on the local gauge to home, and I thought that looks like it'll be a nice colour. Nipped out near home, had a look at it. I thought, that's great. We've got about 18 inches, 2 foot of visibility. We can do some trotting. We can trot with maggots, and it's just about perfect. And I thought, where should we go? I need somewhere, I don't know if you can hear, it is blowing a gale. We need somewhere where we're going to be sheltered. Now here we've got a lovely big bank that side of us, and that's the way the wind's coming from. So we're really in the lee in here, in the lee of the wind. So I knew that'd be the case. So I thought, right, I know where we'll go. We'll go to Marcliffe. This is on the BAA ticket. However, I've got here, and there's about that much visibility here, which is not really great for fishing maggots, in my opinion anyway, not when we've got to move in bait. What I did before I left, just in case, was I dug to the bottom of the chest freezer and I found a couple of loaves of bread. So we can make up some mashed bread. I think this is more of a bread river. I think what I'm going to do is I'll give it an hour here. If we're not doing any good, I think I'm going to go way upstream. We'll find somewhere that's a bit clearer and we'll have a go there. That's my thinking at the moment. But hopefully we can do okay here. We'll drop into a swim. I've only fished here once before, and we fished this swim that we're going to fish once before. We had 3 chub out in a few hours, so that was nice. We had a nice one and a few smaller ones, a couple of smaller ones. But yeah, let's have a go. Let's have a go. So I've got some bread soaking in the landing net down here. We'll squeeze that out and then we'll see how we get on. Give that a second to drain out. We'll squeeze it out in a minute as well. And we'll mash it up. I've got the temperature gauge in here as well. The water's 5.6, which it was near home a few days ago. What we've had is we've had a really cold spell, and it's suddenly gone much milder today. Last night we've been having sort of -2, -3 at night. Last night was 8 degrees, and it's a lot warmer today. It has not touched the water temperature yet though, looking at that. Why I prefer mashed bread when it's a bit coloured is that there's lots of particles in the water, get some smell in the water for the fish to key in on, rather than feeding maggots, which are not particularly smelly and very visual. Right, we'll squeeze this out and then we'll start balling it in. So gear-wise, I've got my ever faithful Daiwa Tournament Pro 15-foot rod, Daiwa 125M close face reel there. Absolutely love trotting with close face reels. Drake alloy stem stick float on the business end, 4.8 grams, slightly undershotted with a 4 gram Olivet, and that is it. No shot on the line. The Olivet's about a foot from the hook. As I say, we had a few chub from here last time. It wasn't prolific, but worth coming and having another go, I think. Right, we're going to feed for 5 minutes while I just get myself properly set up and I'll have a crack. It's a nice pace to the water here. It's a nice walking pace, effectively, to the water. It's lovely. That's quite kind of what I look for in a trotting swim. Walking pace is a good speed for me. I do hope we can get something going here, but like I say, I'm not adverse to a move. You're nice and filthy. How about you? I'm going to be in the doghouse when I get home. Right, I think it's time for a crack. Looking forward to this. Do love a bit of trotting. Right, this is the last bit of bread I'm putting on. It's not really happening here. I've had 3 occasions when the float's gone under, but I've struck each time the bread's still been on. So whether the Olivet has just 3 times caught on the bottom, I'm not sure, but it's only done it 3 times in like an hour and a half. Right, that bread's come off. We'll call it a day, I think. We will go for a move So you may be familiar with this swim, but it's pretty much the only one I can think to come to where we're going to be out of the wind. And we are. The wind is coming from that way, so it's obviously mostly blown over the top of our heads. I had my head blown off walking down here. It's a bit clearer. We've got about 18 inches of visibility here, so I'm going on maggots. It's getting on for 2 o'clock now, so we've only got maybe 3.5 hours before we won't be able to see the float anymore. We're not allowed to night fish this stretch anyway, so we'll see how we get on. Now, I'm going to change this hook out. Obviously, we've got a big one on for fishing bread. We'll change that out to a size 20. Guru MWG. Easy for me to say. We'll get to somewhere near depth. We'll have a crack. But we'll see how we get on. God, it's covered in mud already. It's an absolute swamp down here. Lovely and calm now, as you can see. I say the wind's whistling above our heads. And we do know the chub have been hanging around in this swim. I think in a day or two this river will be nice, although we are due some rain, so who knows. If it keeps it topped up and keeps it relatively clear, also this sort of clarity, then that'll be good. Right, we'll give this maggot a little bit of room to swing about. Go a bit deeper because we're not dragging bottom. Let's try that. We'll give this a good hour and a half, see if we can get anything going. Right now we're dragging, most certainly. Got to keep feeding, forgetting. Keep feeding. I think these fish will be out and about. I'm hoping anyway they'll be out and about. All right, is that right? No, bottom. We're in. These don't feel tiny. It's not massive, but it's not tiny. Blimey, we've worked for this bite. Suddenly feels a bit bigger. No, he's not beasting me. He feels a reasonable fish, but he's certainly not beasting me. Blimey, we've worked for that. He's no monster at all. Come on. Oh, it's actually a nice fish. It's a really nice fish, actually. Fine. Yes! Well, he's no monster. Lovely deep-bodied fish. That's cracking. Now we have a question to answer. Do we put the keep net in? It's took best part of an hour to get that bite, but we've got it. So perhaps we're getting things moving. We will. The thing is, we can't put a fish like that back and expect to get any more bites. That's the thing. He's gonna, if we do put him back, he's gonna spook all his mates. So we will have to get the keep net in if we're gonna carry on. Well, that's taken a good hour to get that fish in here. To be honest, I haven't started getting a few bites. I'd probably gone by now. Gives me a bit of renewed optimism. Now we've had a decent fish. And, you know, we have, without being greedy, if we have a couple of 3 of them, then, you know, it's a good session, isn't it? I'm going to change this hook link, it's got a knot in it, which I didn't notice before. Yeah, it's, yeah, could turn into a good session. Perhaps we've just finally got them on feed. A bit of a move around as well. Seeing as I was sorting out to keep netting that fish. I mean, I could stand further back in here, but I do like to get down to the sort of river level if I can. I like to be down at a level with the water. It's not always possible, but I like being just near the water's surface if I can. We're in it in the summer. I'm not sure I'd want to be in it today. It's not very warm. Oh, Annie, see, there's another bite as well. We're certainly getting some bites now. These fish have finally switched onto these maggots, I think. Oh, God. Let's put some floatant on my line. I think little and often. We'll keep these going in, but very little and often. Twice per cast. We'll put perhaps 15 maggots in. They certainly do seem to be hanging around that cover again. The thing about this stretch as well, there's some big ones in this stretch. So, you know, there's a chance of a 6-pounder in this stretch. Certainly some 6s come out in matches. Right, let's see if we can have his big brother. One of his parents even. That'd be nice. Been greedy now, I've had one decent fish. Been greedy. Unless we catch some more fish, it's not going to be a, there we go, very long video, I was about to say. Well, that is a long way down the swim, where it's gone down a few times. Right out in the middle of the river. Very long way downstream. Blimey. Putting a bend in the rod. Again, he's not beasting me, but it feels a reasonable fish. I can't believe it took like an hour and a half to get this going. I'd normally have given up and gone home by now. I say, he's no monster. I need to keep him out of those reeds. No, he's no monster, but he's a lovely, lovely Warwickshire Avon chub. Certainly one I'd rather catch than not. I mean, stocky is the word for it, I think. Very stocky. Fantastic. We're catching some fish. Wonderful. What do you reckon, Tess? Bored, ain't you? Just want to go home now. As I say, any time this float goes under, we're not having a great session, are we? But any time it goes under, it could be an absolute monster. My float PB is 5.14, so that'll take some beating. Well, it would pretty much take a 6 unless I was unlucky enough to catch a 5.15. Although catching a 5.15 chub on the float, I don't think you could call it unlucky under any circumstances. But yeah, literally 5 minutes after we've had that first nice chub, we've had another one. Perhaps they are switching on, but a long way away from each other. At least 10 metres apart. Perhaps it's taken this long just to get these fish looking for these maggots. Now I'm casting this stick float, which is a very bad idea. I don't like casting stick floats at all, because they tangle up, as you can see, really easily. There's not a lot of choice here unless I get the waggler out. I'd rather use a stick float if possible, just because the line control is much better coming off the top of the float, especially in these gusty conditions. What I'm doing is flicking it, stopping it, and making sure I see the float, the olivet and the maggot go in. If I don't, like I didn't last time, I only saw 2 splashes, then I'll bring it in because it's probably tangled, and it was. There we go, right out in the middle of the river again. This feels a nice fish. Oh, blimey. It's doing absolutely nothing. Wow. It's just sitting there. I'm making a bit on him. He's swimming upstream now, that's why. I think he's trying to make for the tree. Let's discourage him. Wow. Well, this session suddenly turned around. I mean, not 10 minutes since we had that last chub, the second one. I'm not counting my chickens yet, though. Feels a nice fish, this does. Although he's being very compliant. Oh, nice fish. He's off again. Ooh, he's off. He doesn't look as big as he's fighting. Again, nowhere near that snag over there, right in the middle of the river, about 10 metres beyond. I'm wondering if that's where these maggots are getting down towards the bottom. He's another lovely fish. We've only just nicked him. Wonderful. Another absolute cracking Warwickshire Avon chub. We got him going now. I think from the fact that this has taken an hour and a half to get these fish feeding like this, tells me it's probably not the right thing to be doing. There we go. That was by the snag, and this is a chublet. Yeah, it's possibly not the right thing to be doing, but we're catching now. I should be swinging just about swinging. I don't mind catching these fellas at all, because firstly it's, oh god, he's rammed with maggots. Firstly it's a bite, and secondly he just coughed up about 20 maggots. Secondly, it's the future of the river. You know, I'm no expert, perhaps he's one of last year's fry. I don't know how quickly they grow, but certainly don't mind catching them. I certainly won't mind catching him in about 4 or 5 years' time. You can clearly see these maggots coming in. despite the foot and a half of visibility, probably foot and a half. Might have been better off on whites today. As you can see, I'm using bronzes. But, you know, it didn't work earlier, did it, with that white bread? Admittedly, you know, in a different swim. Perhaps the issue today is because this river's coloured, the chub are out and about. They're not necessarily over there under that bit of cover. So it's a lot more work to get them sort of into the swim and feeding. It may just be as simple as that. You know, previously there were a lot of the bites around that snag. Perhaps they're not too fussed about being under there today. He had 2 goes at that. Oh, oh, it's come off. That was a really good fish. He had two bites at that. That was bound to happen sooner or later. The 3 fish I've hooked have been only just nicked. That felt really good and that did. Oh, we probably saw the rod. That's frustrating. That's very frustrating. Oh, how annoying. Especially as it's probably going to go and spook all the rest of them now. There we go. Oh. Well, we've spooked him for too long, have we? Again, it's another nice fish. Gone quiet. Ooh. Blimey. This rod's getting a workout today. And my arm is as well. They're not going crazy, but they're just plodding in that flow. And they have a little run. I'm not giving them too much stick, because as I say, they've been a bit lightly hooked. A couple of them, and obviously that one we didn't land, unfortunately. Oh, certainly the hardest fight we've had. It's hard to get a scale of him when he's out there. Big old mouth. Oh, he's a clonker. Wow. He's a beauty. Absolute tank. How's about that? Absolute clonker. 4.7. £4.7. His session has come alive. Gonna make the most of it. Right, we'll get him in the net. We'll crack on. Well, it just shows you, doesn't it? Sometimes don't be like me, be all impatient. Actually, yeah, stick it out a bit. It's really, really starting to come good now. It's one of those though, I think, if there was 6 inches more visibility, I reckon it'd have took half an hour less to get them going. I think it's just that it's on the coloured side of good. I've had to come to a recent favourite spot to get some bites though. But to be honest, you know, it's one of those, isn't it? You've got fish where the fish are. It's location. All about location. And I could go off exploring the river and stuff and be blanking. You know, as I've said, it's the middle of February. The water's 5.6. If I'd have not known about this swim and come and had a go in it, I wouldn't have stuck it out for an hour and a half for a bite. This time of year when knowledge pays off. But boy, have I had to work at this today. You know, I can't fish the stretches by my house, it's just too windy. We've driven 8 or 10 miles to a stretch where it wasn't going to be windy and we've not had a bite. I've driven another 10 or 12 miles back past where I live to come to this stretch where it wasn't going to be so windy. Well, it doesn't sound a lot, does it? I know driving 10 or 12 miles, I know a lot of people have to drive a lot further than that to go fishing. But you know, I live about, well, certainly less than 150 metres from the Avon. But it's very open there and it's just going to be, it would be impossible today. To be honest, you'd struggle ledgering there today, I think. That'd be breakers. But again, you know, it's doing that bit of work on Google Maps. I looked at the wind direction, scratched my head, went on Google Maps to see exactly where it would be sheltered. And really it was here or Marcliffe where we went. And I really decided on Marcliffe because we were here sort of about a week and a half ago, just to try and change things up a bit, but it just didn't happen. I've got a very fortunate day as well. You'll probably know if you watch the channel, I do the school run generally. My wife works full time. And obviously it's half term this week. But my wife is working from home today, which is why I took the advantage of getting out. Which, to be honest, why I've persevered as well, because of having today free from childcare, I should say. I said the clouds were going to break up and the sun was going to come out. I don't really want it to, but at least I've got my cap on. All right, there we go. Oh, hello. No, no, no. He wants back in there. No. No, 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 no. Oh. Sudden surge. And then he's coming like a dog on a lead after that, until now. And now he don't want to cooperate at all. Proper fishing dog, you want to see it landed, don't you? Oh, he's another nice one. Oh, we're landing next miles away. No, you're not going in there. No, 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 no. Oh, skirted that. Another cracker. Wonderful. Is that all right by you? Did I do a good job? Thank you. These fish are doing really well. I mean, look at heft on that one. Proper chunky. Just put it into context. I fished for an hour and a half with one tiny little chublet to show, about an hour in. Good hour and a half before we caught that first chub. Decent chub, that is. It's now an hour later and we've had another 5. Crazy. 5 decent ones as well. We've just put a cormorant off, that's good. He absolutely kecked his pants when he came around the corner and saw me. That's one good thing we've done today. Only push him about though, don't you? We haven't actually put him off. we've put him off fishing here. Blimey. Properly going black. It's like the end of the world. I don't have a coat or anything today because it was supposed to go sunny. Stupidly, I believe the forecast. What an idiot I am. So if it starts caning down, we shall go, I think. Hopefully it'll blow over before we get drenched. Because at the moment we're standing about in the rain and not getting any bites. Never mind, it's only a bit of water. Right, it's about 5 o'clock. We've not had a fish for 45 minutes. It seemed like ages when we were getting a bite every 10 minutes. We'll give it a bit longer. That's not a bite. We'll go slightly too far over there. We drag under. Hopefully we can perhaps finish on a fish or two. I've had a couple of what I think were bites that I've not that I've not connected with. Just a little dip on the float. Not 100% certain they're bites because we are sort of flirting with the bottom, but they do seem like bites like that. No, that wasn't. You can sort of tell when they're bites, really, oftentimes, because they're so rapid. The float shoots under rather than just dragging under slowly, but not always. It would be nice to finish on a fish or two. But you never really know with fishing. I've had stuff like this before when I've been, watching the chub swirling at maggots on the top. You can't get a bite for an hour and they're absolutely going crazy. So who knows? Well, the sun is setting. It's gone full circle really. We had an hour and a half of pretty much no bites. Then we had a really good hour where we caught half a dozen nice fish, and then we finished off with a really, really quiet hour and some hour and a bit. I might as well string it out for a bit longer because we're kind of at a good time of the day now, aren't we? But doesn't look like we're going to do anything else. Is that a fish? God, it is a fish. Blimey, I thought it was the bottom. We have waited an hour and a half for this bite. And he's of course going to try and get back in the tree, I'm sure. Just did nothing. I struck into it. It's absolutely nothing for a good few seconds. I wasn't sure that it was even a fish. Well, he's sort of coming upstream like a dog on a lead now. Ooh, it'd be great if we could finish on a fish. God, he's holding really low in the water, just trudging upstream. He's acting just like a barbel. I don't think for a minute it is a barbel. But he's acting like a barbel. Ooh, hello. Ooh, blimey. I'm actually starting to think now, is this a barbel? Because he's trudged off upstream. I can't imagine it is though, but he's putting up a scrap, a hell of a scrap. I just saw him then. I still can't tell what it is. I think it's a chub. I'll be very surprised if it's a barbel in these temperatures. Oh, wow. But it's gone right upstream of me, like barbel do sometimes. It's absolutely giving me a beating. It is a barbel. I thought it was. Well, I struck into it down there and it just went solid. Well, if we get this in, this will be my first ever Warwickshire Raven barbel on the float. I said, didn't I, when he trudged up the middle of the river? It's like a barbel. He's not a monster at all. Oh, it's in my mouth. Absolutely in my mouth. I've got a quite inadequate landing net. I think we'll get him in. We can get him beat, that is. No. As usual, I come in 3 or 4 times. God, my legs are shaking. Oh my goodness me. Oh. No, still not done. Just now thinking, oh, please go in the net, please go in the net. Give up. Well, he's a barbel, so he's not gonna. I think we're winning. Getting him closer and closer and closer and closer. No, we'll look at the landing net and he's off again. Just don't know when to give up, do they? Come on. Like he's got the line wrapped around his fin, that's why he's acting a bit strange. We've got him. We've got him. As I say, a very inadequate landing net, but we've got him. Oh, give him a minute. I can't believe it. Come on, chap. Oh, he's a good one as well. Well, how's about that? I've given him a rest up in the net. Absolutely fantastic. He's a nice fish as well. Size 20, single maggot. It's just starting to get dark, as you can see. Barbel o'clock, isn't it? Absolutely fantastic. I am over the moon. Right, I'm not going to keep him out. I've brought him up the bank to deal with him, and we'll get him back down, get him rested up again, and get him back in the water. Well, This landing net's a little bit small really, but we can get him back in the water, out in the flow until he's ready to go. Oh, there we go. He was hanging about. Gobsmacked. Absolutely gobsmacked. Right, let's get these chub back. Clearly we're going to call it a day there. Cracking chub as well. Absolutely wonderful. I'm not going to mess them about. We'll get them straight back. Go on, chaps. Back you go. Well, as you can imagine, I did not plan on hooking a barbel today. Not in this water. As I say, 5.6, we did it earlier. A bit cold for barbel really, but he clearly fancied some maggots. There you go. Speechless. My first ever Warwickshire Avon barbel on the float. My first one for a couple of years, to be honest. Oh, that's fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Now, as you can see, the light's going, so time I was gone. But what a strange old session. Hour and a half down at Marcliffe, not a bite. Hour and a half here, one little chublet. An hour of absolute madness, another hour and a half of no bites, and then a barbel to finish off with. Can't believe it. Absolutely gobsmacked. Gobsmacked. Now, I'm not sure when I'll be out again. Tomorrow is going to be even worse conditions today as far as the wind goes. We may try and sneak out perhaps at one of the smaller rivers. I'm not sure. I'm not sure exactly what I'm going to do at the moment. Perhaps we'll leave it till early next week. But for now, thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed that half as much as I did. Tight lines, enjoy your own angling. Many thanks to the channel patrons for your wonderful support. Thanks to those of you who supported me through buymeacoffee.com. And I'll see you again very soon.